Before we begin, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss a single one of our upcoming videos. Faron Young was born on February 25, 1932, in Shreveport, Louisiana, the youngest of 6 children of Harlan and Doris Young. He grew up on a dairy farm that his family operated outside the city. Young began singing at an early age, imagining a career as a pop singer. However, after he joined some friends watching Hank Williams perform with 9 encores on the Louisiana Hayride, Young switched to country music instead. He performed at the local Optimist Club and was discovered by Webb Pierce, who brought him to star on the Hayride in 1951, then broadcast on KWKH-AM. He graduated from Fair Park High School that year and attended Centenary College of Louisiana. Young recorded in Shreveport. His first releases were on Philadelphia's Gotham Records. By February 1952, he was signed to Capitol Records, where he recorded for the next 10 years. His first Capitol single appeared that spring, and Young moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and recorded his first chart hit, Goin' Steady, in October of 1952. His career was sidetracked when he was drafted into the United States Army the following month. Goin' Steady hit the Billboard country charts while Young was in basic training. It peaked at number 2, and the U.S. Army Band took Young to replace Eddie Fisher on tours, its first country music singer, just as If You Ain't Lovin' was hitting the chart. Now, he was discharged in November of 1954. From 1954 to 1962, Young recorded many honky-tonk songs for Capitol, including the first hit version of Don Gibson's Sweet Dream. Most famous was Hello Wall, a Willie Nelson song that Young turned into a crossover hit in 1961. It sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc. During the mid-1950s, Young starred in 4 low-budget films: Hidden Guns, Daniel Boone Trailblazer, Raiders of Old California, which you can find on this channel, and Country Music Holiday. He appeared as himself in cameo roles and performances in later country music films and was a frequent guest on television shows throughout his career, including ABC TV's Ozark Jubilee. His band, the Country Deputies, was one of the country music's top bands, and they toured for many years. He invested in real estate along Nashville's Music Row in the 1960s, and in 1963 co-founded with Preston Temple the trade magazine Music City News. The same year, Young switched to Mercury Records and drifted musically, but by the end of the decade he had returned to his sound, including Wind Me Up. Released in 1971, Waltz Time Ballad, It's 4 in the Morning, written by Jerry Chestnut, was one of Young's records and his last #1 hit, also becoming his only major success in the United Kingdom, where it peaked at number 3 on the pop charts. By the mid-1970s, his records were becoming overshadowed by his behavior, making headlines in 1972 when he was charged with assault for spanking a girl in the audience at a concert in Clarksburg, West Virginia, who he claimed spat on him, and for other later incidents. Now, it was in the mid-1970s. Young was the spokesman for BC Powder. Young signed with MCA Records in 1979. The association lasted 2 years. Nashville independent label Step One Records signed him in 1988, where he recorded into the early 1990s, including a duet album with Ray Price, then withdrew from public view. Though country acts included BR 549 were putting his music before audiences in the 1990s, Young apparently felt that the music industry which had undergone a revolution of sorts in 1991, had mostly rejected him. Faron Young's son, Robin, followed him into the country music business starting in 1975. Robin was the main headliner at his father's nightclub, Faron Young's Jailhouse. In the early 1980s, Robin began touring with his father, performing as an opening act. All right, now let's look at his personal life. Young briefly dated Billie Jean Jones before she became the second wife of country music superstar Hank Williams. It was through Young that Jones was first introduced to Williams, who went on to wed Williams in October of 1952. In 1952, while Young was stationed at Fort McPherson, he met his future wife, Hilda Macon, the daughter of an Army Master Sergeant and the great-granddaughter of Uncle Dave Macon. The couple married 2 years later in November 1954, after Young was discharged from the Army. They had 4 children, sons Damien, Robin, and Kevin, and a daughter, Alana. Young's later life was plagued with bouts of depression and alcoholism. On the night of December 4th, 1984, Young fired a pistol into the kitchen ceiling of his Harbor Island home. When he refused to seek help for his drinking problem, Young and his wife, Hilda, separated, sold their home, and bought individual houses. When asked at the divorce trial if he feared hurting someone by shooting holes into the ceiling, Young answered, "Not whatsoever." The couple divorced after 32 years of marriage in 1986. A combination of feeling he had been abandoned by country music and despondency over his deteriorating health were cited as possible reasons that Young shot himself. On December 9, 1996, he died in Nashville the following day and was cremated. His ashes were spread by his family over Old Hickory Lake outside of Nashville at Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash's home while the Cashes were away. Okay, that's the end of our video. I sure hope you enjoyed it. If you like this type of video and want us to keep producing them, please like and subscribe. And as always, thank you very much for watching.